Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Gerard Pratt, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Group Captain Catherine McGregor. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony from across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's first World War official historian. Bean landed with Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through until the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Richard Snell. Richard Snell known as Dick, was born in 1895 in Allendale, Victoria, the son of Richard and Catherine McCubbin. When he was a small child, the family moved to Western Australia. They were living in Mundaring when his sister Nellie was born in 1900. Nellie died 2 years later after eating poisonous berries. By that time, the family were living in Midland Junction, where they remained settled. Richard was educated at the Midland Junction State School, and after completing his education, took up an apprenticeship as a printer's machinist. He was held in affectionate regard by every member of the staff of his paper, the Camp Chronicle, based in Midland Junction. Dick Snell served in a field regiment of his local citizens' militia for a number of years and had trained as a signaller. He enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force in December 1915 and, apparently frustrated by the delay further signals training would mean for his arrival at the battlefield, opted instead to go into the infantry. Private Snell left Fremantle on the 12th of February 1916 on board the troop ship Miltiades, with reinforcements to the 28th Battalion. Snell was first sent to Egypt, where the AIF was undergoing a period of expansion and reorganisation following the withdrawal from Gallipoli. As part of this process, he was transferred to the 51st Battalion and, after more training in the desert, left for France and the battlefields of the Western Front in June 1916. The 51st Battalion moved into the trenches in a quiet sector of the line within 2 weeks of arriving in France. Snell wrote home saying that he was, quote, a member of a battalion intelligence platoon carrying out the hazardous duties of patrolling no man's land at night. The 51st Battalion would not participate in a major offensive action until August, when it took part in operations near Mouquet Farm, a fortified German position north of the village of Pozières. On the 14th of August 1916, the 51st Battalion was hit by a German counterattack that hit Australian lines before their own operations began. After the situation had settled, Private Richard Snell was missing. Later investigations uncovered the fact that Dick Snell had been moving along a communication trench just behind the front line at some point on the 14th of August when a piece of shell struck him in the back of his head. He was killed instantly. Private Richard Snell's body was lifted out of the trench to make way for more men, but it was later recovered from the battlefield and buried. Today he lies in the Pozières British Cemetery at Villiers-la-Boiselle, not far from where he was killed. He was 21 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Richard Snell, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
If able, please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we shall remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières, or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you all for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.